You've been posting your creative writing online for months, but you rarely check the comments or engage with your readers. You're focused on producing new content, convinced that more output is the only thing that matters. You find a formula that works. A certain type of social media post gets good engagement. A particular service offering gets a steady trickle of clients. It feels safe, so you stick with it. You repeat the same patterns week after week. For a while, it's consistent, but then growth slows and a quiet boredom sets in for you and your audience. The mistake is confusing consistency with repetition. You stop experimenting. You stop asking new questions or trying small variations. The ecosystem around you is always changing, but your output remains static. This isn't failure, it's stagnation. It drains creative energy. The insight is to build a small habit of innovation. Dedicate 10% of your time or effort to trying something new. A different format, a slight twist on your service, a collaboration. This keeps your work fresh for you, and it signals to your audience that you're evolving. Consistency provides the foundation, but small, deliberate changes build the house. You find yourself refreshing your analytics page 5 times an hour, watching the graph move up and down by just a few tiny points. You've convinced yourself that you're monitoring your growth, but your mood is starting to depend entirely on those digital numbers. You've spent the last 3 months starting 3 different projects, and each time you hit a small hurdle, you find a new, more exciting idea to chase. It feels like you're being adaptable, but in reality, you're just restarting at level 1 every few weeks. You tell yourself you'll only check your stats for a minute, the views on your latest video, the sales from your store. But that minute turns into 10, scrolling, refreshing, comparing today's numbers to yesterday's. You do this multiple times a day. It feels like staying informed, like being engaged with your project. But here's the quiet mistake. You're spending the mental energy of a captain constantly checking the compass instead of steering the ship. Every refresh is a tiny interruption, pulling you out of the creative or productive flow where real work happens. Over weeks, this habit taxes your focus and replaces doing with worrying. The realization is that most metrics only have meaningful patterns over weeks, not hours. The lesson is to schedule your check-ins once a day or even once a week. Close the tabs in between. Redirect that anxious energy into a single, small, tangible task that actually moves the needle forward. Your attention is your most valuable asset. Don't let a dashboard quietly spend it for you. You've spent 3 weeks writing the perfect About Me page for your website, editing every sentence until it gleams. Meanwhile, you haven't actually posted any of the content your audience is waiting for. You spend your Saturday afternoon tweaking the hex codes on your brand colors and reorganizing your digital folders for the third time this week. It feels like you're building a business, but your bank account and your customer list haven't changed at all. You decide to launch a small online store. You're excited. You want it to be professional. So you spend evenings choosing the perfect logo, tweaking the color palette on your 3 products, rewriting your bio for the 10th time. Weeks pass. The site looks clean, but it's seen by no one. You're waiting for everything to be just right before you tell anyone it exists. The mistake is believing that a flawless setup is a prerequisite for starting. In reality, it's a form of hesitation. It feels productive, it feels like preparing for success, but it's a quiet drain on your time and motivation. You're solving problems no one has yet because you have no customers to give you feedback. The realization comes when you see someone with a simpler, less polished site actually making sales. They launched with what they had and improved based on what people wanted. Your takeaway is to define a good enough launch point. 1 product, 1 service page, 1 basic offer. Put it out into the world. Let real people, not your own judgment, tell you what to fix next. Progress, not perfection, builds confidence and generates the feedback that truly matters. You believe that to make your side hustle work, you need big blocks of time. You wait for the free Saturday, the open Sunday, planning a marathon session to finally get everything done. but those days often get filled with other life obligations, or you're so tired from the week that the motivation never comes. The mistake is believing that only grand gestures count. You overlook the power of the tiny daily touch, the 20 minutes you could have each morning, or the 30 minutes after the house quiets down. These small moments feel insignificant, so you don't use them, but they are where momentum is built. Consistency in tiny increments beats sporadic bursts. It keeps the project alive in your mind. It leads to steady progress that doesn't burn you out. The insight is to lower the bar for what counts as a work session. Can you send one email? Can you draft one social post? Can you complete one small task? These micro actions compound. They build a rhythm that is sustainable. Don't wait for the perfect time. Use the time you already have.